Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're playing as Athens, as you can see up here, and we are going to be starting off as a feudatory to Phrygia, which is unfortunate, but we cannot break it. So we're going to start off with mixed gender rules on, because there's really no reason not to, and it is a big benefit in terms of generals and people later on in the game. When you expand, you might run out of people. So we'll just hit start. As you can see, we'll pop up with this Alexander the Great, meaning essentially Alexander died suddenly, and so his empire, pretty much all of this area, was broken up into a lot of different nations, and so most of these, all the nations that were part of his empire just got this pop-up here. So as with when you start with any nation, you are going to have some of these. So we're going to have to fix these initially, and so we are going to skip the disloyal characters. One, because we cannot go into civil war because we are a feudatory, and these can sometimes be solved by the decisions you make in these. So for imports, we're going to want to go with, as always, we're going to want to look up here and see what we are importing. You can see we are importing iron, and so we're going to want to import horses so we can get some cavalry, which is always useful, and we are going to want to import something that does increase our output of our pops. So what we're going to do, instead of just picking a random one, you're going to head over to your nation overview tab, and then you can see this little pie chart right here, a pop type distribution. So you can see that we have majority of our citizens are slaves, or not citizens, people are slaves, and so we're going to want to increase our slave output, which is leather, plus 10% there, and you can import it from wherever you want. And so now we're going to want to fix our commander. This is really easy, and you just start off with this at the beginning of the game because no commanders are already assigned. And so now we're going to want to go with our invention tab. And so what this is with the Cicero update is, instead of getting points for this, you have to spend money on it. So this will not disappear until you're pretty much completely broke. So we're going to want to go with fort defense, and as well as maybe some more slave output here. And so that's all we're going to spend, because we do want to spend money on increasing the size of our army. And our economy is pretty good, so we're in a pretty good shape. So for here, we're going to want to, as you can see, we have a pretty bad option for our density of war. So we're going to want to go with Ares, which will increase our cohort starting experience and more alpha armies. And then we aren't going to be able to actually use this for 3 years, so we're going to have to select another one, unless we just want to go with nothing, which we don't. So we're going to go with political influence, which is always useful. It's that up there. And next up, we're going to want to go with our decisions, and this is really only if you start off with social equality on, and then you'll just have to embrace it for 25. Political influence. And next up, we're going to go with ideas. As you can see, there are some specifications up here, as well as this. So if you want to get this little bonus, which is freeman happiness for Athens, but it is different for other nations, you're going to have to select military idea for this one, and then oratory or civic and oratory for these two. But you can go with whatever you want. That's only if you want this bonus. So we are going to go with that bonus because it's pretty useful, and that morale of armies is also useful. And then for civic, we're going to want to go with more slave output, because as you can see up here, commerce is only a fourth of our economy, so increasing the commerce won't increase our money by that much. And then for oratory, we're going to want to go with loyalty of generals, because that's really always what you want. And for these, you can see that there's a lot of them are grayed out, and you just have to get, as you can see, civic advances. And so you'll have to do that. That's a thing you can do later on in the game, and then switch out these ideas. And so you can now, there's this check right there, and we have fixed all the things up here except for this, but we'll maybe wait till later in the game to do that. So now we can unpause, and we might want to speed up time. And as you can see, we do start off with pretty low stability, but it is going up by quite a bit each month. So while we're waiting for something to happen and our economy get up, we are going to want to go into our missions tab. You can see war with Greece, and we can just hit, you can see that entire region of Greece, and that's nice for us. So we'll hit OK, but as you can see, Phrygia has decided to declare war on Macedon. So we're going to put a mission under hold, and you can see some Phrygian armies are here, and we are going to want to expand our army so we can start this war. Because we can get some out of it, but not too much, because there are only people we can realistically reach, because we don't have access to all these nations to get up here, and our navy is too small to increase or to carry a bigger army, which we will need for that. But you can see we can take on this Ordos, and that looks like it's it for this area, but we are able to get there. If you ever want to check if you're able to access a certain area while at war before actually going there, you can just right click, and then you'll see that we are able to get there. And so we are going to want to recruit to army. So you can see we do have a pretty high monthly balance. So we're going to get some archers, a couple heavy infantry, because that's always good, and then maybe a couple of those and one of those. So you see this is going to spend almost all of our manpower and a lot of our money, but it is going to be necessary to fight some of the armies from Macedon because they are a lot bigger than us, so they do have more taxes and are able to send bigger armies to attack us. So as you can see, when these armies joining our army, if those armies stop moving around, you can see our morale bar did go down by quite a bit, but it is going to go back up and recover. So we are now losing a bit of money, which is unfortunate. So we're going to want to, you can see now we're at war with Egypt. Phrygia does like to declare war a lot. We're going to want to head over to up here and lay siege to their capital city. What that will do is decrease the size of our army because troops are going to be dying up here, and we are going to get a conflict, which we are going to be able to completely destroy that army. And when you see them imprisoned and all of them destroyed, that does mean that if you right-click on the nation, sorry, not that, if we could deselect the army, okay. You can see now they have 0 cohorts because we are destroy their army. We do now have some more unused trade routes, and we are going to want to go with something to increase our output a bit more because we are in the negative. And so now we are at war with Seleucids. It's unfortunate, but they're all the way over here, so they're not going to sail over here. So the wars that we should be concerned about are mostly the Macedon War as well as Egypt, because Egypt does have some territories and land in the area up here, as you can see in these islands. So there are no armies dangerously close to our area, so we should be fine laying siege up here. And if this money does get worse, we can always get rid of some of the troops in our army. You see we did win that siege, and now it is captured as Phrygian land, which was annoying, but that's kind of how it goes. So, because we are feudatory of them. And so if you ever want to decrease the size of your army without completely dismantling the entire army, you're going to want to create a new unit. You can see the screen pop up, then move whatever troops you want over there, and we are going to move heavy infantry because they are pretty expensive. Just hit select, and now you can see that it's been split into a new second stratus. And then once this will move, we'll just disband that 1,000 man unit. If this will also move, and now we are hopefully in the plus in terms of economy, which we are. We might want to increase taxes because we are not doing the best economically wise, and then we're going to want to send our troops to maybe take some other nations. So we're going to send our troops back to our homeland unless we do have any other areas that we can lay siege to. And looking at it, we've already done most of them except for Macedon, but that might not be a good idea considering the size of their army. And you see there is Macedon army right about there. And then for these ones, you can see that there is some land nearby, but it's already been captured by Phrygia, it looks like. And so there's not much we can do for that. And with Seleucids, it's just Seleucid Empire Bactra, which is, again, all the way over here. So you can see there is one enemy army going down right there. So we'll just send our troops up to chase them down so we can maybe get this war done a bit quicker than it would otherwise, and maybe capture this bit of land right here. So our troops are coming up, and you can see that green little fight or sword symbol. That means that we're most likely to win. So you can see we are, because their morale is really low, which means it's not going to take much to beat them, and our army is also a lot bigger. So we're going to completely destroy them once again, and so that's pretty good, and we're just going to be able to capture this land right here. And then it is going to go to Phrygia, as you can know that because it is yellow. And so there's some other nations that we can just go capture this as well. Never mind, that is our own. That is some territory that is not the enemy territory, I suppose you could say. And then so we'll send our army back. So your stability has now been increased. I didn't really do anything, so it's now increased, I suppose I'll say. And then we do have to send someone to the Olympics, and this doesn't really matter unless like someone's doing something that you need them to do, so we'll send this guy. And so in terms of our generals, since we enacted that social equality, we are going to have a better general to start off with. A 9 instead of that 6 that we had to recruit earlier. And so now we have a better general. And so there's not much we can go and take over, because you can see like if it appears as yellow, we don't actually need to move them over there. That means that it is not enemy land. So we're going to just keep our army right here and wait till maybe, you see we did not win the Olympic Games, and we probably never will win the Olympic Games, just because like it's kind of a random event, and it's really stacked against you. It'll come up with this every single time. You'll always see this same thing. So we'll just hit better luck next time, and then we're just going to leave our army right here until, actually we might just put them in independent operation, because our army does know the enemy territory and I don't, because unless I have to go look through here and scroll through all of these. You can see that our leader is ill, which is unfortunate, but that army is just going to sit right there, I guess. We're going to send our army up here to lay siege to city of Macedon if our army would go over there, which doesn't seem like it wants to, as we probably don't have access to some of these nations. So we're just going to head over here. See, Macedonian War, we don't really have much to contribute to this war. I mean, they are pretty low, so we could decide to continue, or we could sue for peace, and you can see we can't, but if we could offer them peace, they'd be fine doing that. But we are just going to sit here and maybe build up the size of our navy, even though our economy is pretty not doing very well. So we're just going to unpause and kind of let events unfold, and maybe we will be able to get over there if we can get some military access. So if you do want military access, you just go to access invitation, and then since we are feudatory, we can't. So that's annoying, but we'll have to do. As you can see, Macedonian War did end right down there. And so now we are currently at war with no one. You can see Phrygia decided they wanted to expand their land due to my hard-earned efforts of taking this land, which is annoying. So we're going to want to try and maybe get some, declare war, and ideally we can break our feudatory status, but there is no way to do that. Over here you can see there is no option to do that, and feudatories are not allowed to break their status. Now that our economy is a bit better off, so you see we're going plus 0.97, and it has been a while, but we can now build up our navy, the 6 ships necessary, although we are now completely broke, and we can only build 4 ships. But they will take a bit to build up. Once we can, we are going to be able to send our troops all the way over to Egypt, and hopefully end that war over here. So you did just automatically, it looks like Phrygia did end their war with Egypt and the Seleucids. So now we do our final at peace, and you can see that we don't want to lose money because we don't have much money. So we're going to have to just remove those cultists and lose a bit of loyalty. And so we are still a feudatory of Phrygia, but we can now declare war, but our Senate is not approving of that, understandably so, but we'll have to wait till for that. And that's going to be the only way for us to break our feudatory status. It has taken a while, but as you can see, that now we are allowed to declare war, but our opinion of them is at 100 or above, so we're going to have to go down to the relation actions tab, and we are going to have to send a couple of insults their way. Now you can see our relations there, our opinion has dramatically decreased, and we can do anything once the diplomat arrives. And you see that's 11th of April, and so now it's arrived, and we can now declare war on Phrygia. So, as you can see, the enemy allies, there's a lot of them. We are going to declare war, so we can hopefully get our independence, and then maybe try and take some land. However, as you can see here in the Declare War tab, we are going to get a lot of negative effects. You can say because of Casabela as well as Great Relations, so we will have to insult them a couple more times. So we're going to want to hit Covert Actions, Fabricated Claim, and then we can fabricate a claim right here, I suppose, because that's where ideally we take some land, and then we have to wait for another diplomat to arrive, and then we can send some more insults to decrease our opinion further. So we do now have a Casabela against Phrygia, as you can see right there. Here we do have a Casabela, so we can hopefully declare war. You can see the Senate is kind of half and half on it, but we will be able to now with only that +5 tyranny, because we did insult them quite a few times. But okay, and now you can see we do have a war with Phrygia. And then now we never import, because we were probably importing something from Phrygia. We'll go with horses, because it seems like we lost that. And so we'll get that. Now we are at war with Phrygia, and they do outnumber us significantly. So what we're going to want to do is sue for peace as quickly as possible. As you can see, the diplomat hasn't even arrived, so there's no possible way we can sue for peace right now. So once that arrives, we probably still won't be able to because of that month's war, which is a lot of decreasing. As we are at war with that little nation right there, and you can see they are capturing land right next to our significantly bigger, larger army than them. So we're just going to come over there and take them out. And you can see they did back up their friends, but they did lose in the end there. So essentially what this war is going to be, mostly, is a bunch of little tiny guys invading constantly. You can see we did just take out that entire army, and then we can unsiege that, because that was automatically a siege too. So yeah, essentially this is just like swatting flies. There's just going to be a lot of them constantly attacking me over and over again, regenerating, and then going back, regenerating, going back. And so we are just going to send our army right over here to maybe take out that little cluster. And you can see we did kill a couple of them, but we suppose we'll just go over here and take that land. As you can see, we do have a -33 right here, and that is, well, mostly just completely made up, because they don't have a reason for that right up at this tab, so it's a bit bugged, but you can see that they did just take this land over there. That it does belong to us. We haven't really used much for it. See, we do have another import, and we will, I suppose, get some tribesmen now put up so we can maybe get a bigger army while we are at war. So we are going to send our army up here to go capture some land for us so we can maybe get that war score up. And see, we are able to capture that, and you can see one of their armies is going to engage us, and then hopefully we win. See, we just have to deal with a lot of pop-ups here, and you can see we do win there. As we just took out that army, you can see a peace offer for some reason. Phrygia decided to be nice to us, giving us a peace offer, and they will want that little island right there. We are going to give it to them. That's better than good that we have our independence now, I suppose. So we do have an exiled army. That just means that one of our armies is outside of our directly owned territory. So now that we are free, we are going to cap it here for this episode. Next episode, we're going to try and now we have an alliance with Macedon, which is great. And so we are going to be taking some land maybe over here and trying to complete maybe some of these formidables. So thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.